Good morning, good day, good evening. I am, as always, your host, Brodie Robertson, and today we are back for episode 91 of Tech with Tea, and it's very rare nowadays, but I have a guest. Not because I decided to actually go and, ask Donald to come back on. He actually sent me a message. So, hi, Donald. How you doing? Welcome back to the show.
Hello, how y'all doing? Welcome back.
What is that cup you have? I can't see the full name there. Mattermost.
Yeah. It's I can't remember if did I ever tell you like the one time I tried to be a good developer and contribute to open source.
Maybe, but I don't know if it was on the podcast.
Okay. Well, yeah. The project I contributed to was Mattermost, which is basically an open source Slack alternative. And they're like, "Hey,
okay.
here's a mug." And I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Yeah, look, every company is going to try to send you mugs, send you stickers. I don't know why. It seems like they buy them for some reason and then aren't really sure what they need to do with them. Like, every company that I speak to, like, you want some stickers? Like, no, I got enough stickers, thank you. They just go straight in the bin. Water bottles I'll take.
I don't want to be your walking advertising billboard, all right?
Yeah, well, there is that as well. Like, when they're actually, well-designed stickers, well-designed water bottles, whatever, that's cool. But when it's just like, hey, we just took a shirt and we stuck our logo on it, like, yep. Okay, like, I know this is your employee uniform, but I don't want to, I don't need it. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, the company I work for, they started they did like a little rebrand and they gave everybody out these merch packs.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, "Oh wow!" I'm like, "Hey, I'm throwing this in the trash because I'm not fucking wearing this stuff."
I know I had like the Vivaldi water bottle sitting somewhere around here. I've literally never used it.
Oh yeah.
And oh god, I still remember the pens I got from them. The fucking 10 blue
that.
pens. Like what? What? Why did you send me these? What? Do you not need blue pens in your office? Like, why are these here?
I was confused about it because didn't you you didn't make like a glowing review about them? It was like,
no,
you're okay.
I mentioned that they exist, and at the time I had what? I think I had like 10k subs, which in the Linux world isn't small, but it's certainly not like a big channel.
Yeah.
Anyway, how you been doing, man?
I'm pretty good. Been running my ass off in between work and moving and kind of rent out old house now.
Now, I can't wait till I move. In a couple of months, I'm finally out of this house into a bigger place. Honestly, it's going to be nice. What made you decide to move from your old place?
We needed more room.
Yeah.
Also,
okay.
Because we both work remote,
right?
There was no real reason for us to be in a more urban area, so we kind of moved out. It's not the boonies, but it's a lot further out than we were at.
Yeah, I don't know why so many people are still trying to move into the cities. Like, unless you have a job where you actually need to be physically there, just go somewhere else. It's cheaper. You don't need to be living in Silicon Valley.
No. So my wife knows somebody who lives in California, and when he moved out of the apartment he was in on his own, I think his monthly rent for not a big apartment, like a regular size studio apartment or something. Was
I like how studio apartment is regular sized in a place like that.
It's his rent is almost as much as the mortgage on both of my houses.
Fuck you. Yeah. Oh my lord. Yeah. So I'm share housing right now, but if I was paying all the rent by myself, I think it would be something in the range of 1,200 Australian, which puts it around 900, 1,000 US.
Yeah, that's
and this is for an entire house.
Yeah, the mortgage on this house is about 1,200.
I never understand I'll talk to some Americans I know who live in very urban areas, and they're like, oh yeah, my rent's $4,000 a month. Like, what do you mean your rent's $4,000 a month? What does that even, what do you mean?
What is minimum wage there? What is
And they were like, "Oh yeah, I work in like a restaurant. Like, do you have any money outside of rent? Like, what do you mean?"
Probably not. They probably get supplementary income even live there.
Man, that I can't even imagine actually wanting to do that.
No, I don't. The only reason, the only reason we moved where we moved initially was because of my job.
Right. I kind of get the whole, the whole city life thing. If you're a person who likes to go out and do things, but besides that, like, you're just around traffic all the time. It's not a nice place to be.
Traffic and assholes.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, look, you're gonna get assholes everywhere, but at least when there's less people in your town, they are more physically distanced from you. You see less of them in a day.
True.
So you're saying you have two places now. So you're renting out one of them.
Yeah, that's been an interesting process because I've never done it before. In fact, I'm using I was trying to find what to use to actually do the rental posting and application management, blah blah blah. Apparently, I found out Zillow has a rental manager application.
Right.
Which is what I ended up using.
So you are doing it through like I guess would Zillow be considered like a real estate agent in that case, or how you is it like a private rental? Or how are you managing this?
I guess I wouldn't really call it a listing, like a real estate agent. Because real estate agent would be like someone that helped us get the process up for like getting like this house or the last house. This is just like I guess it's almost no different than when you like post stuff up on like Etsy or something.
Right.
It's almost
Okay,
kind of like a marketplace or something. But in terms of like there was a cost associated with putting it up there. But in terms of like the handling of onboarding somebody, you basically have to do the whole thing yourself.
Right. So you don't have like a property manager for it. You're sort of in charge of that. Okay, right. That's what I was sort of trying to get at.
Yeah, I thought about it because the house is about 35 minutes away. But I was like, it's just one house. I don't think I need a property manager for that.
Right. We are like all the places that I've lived in since I moved out of home. They've been private rentals where the person like renting out actually lived in the house.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. Not not for me. Maybe it's fun for them.
Yeah.
But I get why you wouldn't. Like I know why you might want to have a property manager, because then you have like a sort of barrier between you and like the person actually living there. But obviously the property manager is then going to have like an overhead, and that's going to eat into the rental, the rental income you're going to make from it, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I also see where it's more useful if the property that you're trying to rent out like has a bunch of issues with it, and they're going to be literally harassing you like every month because shit's falling apart.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like that. Yeah, that house is fairly well maintained, minus the AC central air getting its ass kicked by our two long-haired cats.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
So what made you actually keep the place then? Just because you had the extra money to be able to like afford it?
Yeah, it's long term. It's the more financially beneficial move, I think, if you're willing to put up with doing it. Because it's, if I were to sell the house, even though selling the house now would be a bad idea, because I don't know if you've seen the real estate market over in the U.S. right now, but holy fuck,
it's pretty bad here as well. It's not as bad as the U.S., but yeah, there are some sections here. Like if I go a suburb over, the houses minimum for absolute like shitholes that are falling apart, 500,000. That's really high in my area.
Jesus.
Like you'll see like a shithole that if you put it like next to like, I don't know, the beach or next to the river, it would just be like the cheap holiday home. It'd be like that place you spend like, I don't know, $100 a night. It's like falling apart. The doors are hanging off, things like that. And it's $500,000.
What was it that when we got that house initially, I got it for like 92,000, and like right now the estimate for it is like 60,000 more or something. With no like literally the only thing that's different about the house is it has a new roof. because a
Mm.
tree fell on the back of the house at one point.
Yeah, that one's probably a bit of a good upgrade then.
But whenever I've been going through this process,
Mm.
and maybe I should have expected this because the last 2 years have been kind of fucked anyway.
Mm.
Is I didn't realize because someone applies, it charges them to do a background check and a credit score check.
Right.
And I don't know how credit score stuff works down yonder, but here, like the way it kind of goes is like 600 is like average, 700's good, 800's like your Jesus basically when it comes to credit score stuff. I was surprised how many people when they put in a thing and I would look at their credit score, it's like 500 or below. That's like yikes. Like most banks will probably have a hard time doing business with you at that point.
Yeah, I don't.
But like I'm trying to bend to
Here we go.
sort of not take that into a whole lot of account because the whole last year and a half or so, like I imagine screwed a lot of people's debt and finances up. Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. So according to canstar.com.au, below average would be 0 to 505. I really hope you don't have a 0. Actually, zero credit score is not that bad because that means you just don't have a credit history. If it's above 0 but lower than 500, that's a problem. 506 to 665 is average. 666 to 755 is good. 756 to 840 is very good. Then 841 to 1200 is excellent. So I don't know if that's the same scale as in the US, but that's what it has here.
Yeah, that's pretty close, give or take about 10 or 20 points. At least anytime I've looked at stuff.
Yeah, I haven't looked at buying a house. I just occasionally check out, the real estate website, see what there is around, see what I'd be looking to pay if I do want to buy a place.
The thing that's confusing as shit in the U.S. too, I don't know if this is the case down there, is there's 3 different companies that technically track credit scores.
Yeah, no, this has Equifax, Experian, and Ilion. Right. Yeah, so I guess it's the same then.
One of those is different, but there's like 3 of them, and like your credit score can be very different between all 3 of those.
Yeah, I've been trying to because I do want to buy a place at some point. I don't want to be renting my entire life. I know people who've done that, and it's just like, why? Especially when a lot of people, the rent they're paying is basically what they would pay as a mortgage anyway.
Yeah, that's actually part of the reason why we got the first house was our rent at our first apartment was like 700 and some, I think. And when we didn't look for a house for a long time because we had this stigma of, it's going to be really expensive to afford it. Then we finally talked to somebody who was a loan coordinator. He was like, oh, well, given your credit score, blah, 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 it would come out to be about 600. I was like, what, you mean it's fucking cheaper to have a mortgage? What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is like the deposit and having the credit score. Like that's what stops a lot of people. Because, I can totally get why, you can afford to pay, I don't know, $200 a week in rent, let's say, $250 a week in rent, but you don't have, $20,000 as a deposit. Yeah. Like, that totally makes sense.
That's why there's, a lot of places have what's called a first-time home buyer.
Yeah, we have a first-time home buyers grant low. I don't know what it's called. It changes every so often.
Basically where you can get a loan with somewhere between like no down payment and like a really, really low down payment. That's how we got the first house.
Let's see. So, if you're a first home buyer, you may be eligible for the first home buyer grant of up to $15,000. If you are buying or building a new home, that's the thing that catches people here. If you're buying a new property, so something like some new development, or you're building a place, and that home will be your principal residence. So like if you're gonna live there, but yeah, that's what stops a lot of people because a lot of the cheaper houses are gonna be old I don't know what do you call it in the US, like government housing.
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we call it shit. What do we, I don't know. We just now I forgot the term for Australia. It's the old government housing from like the 70s. That's kind of like falling apart. They've had all manner of tenants come through that
Right.
haven't looked after the property.
Mm.
But a lot of those places actually get built, like they get like done up, and a lot of them are actually really nice now, and they sell still pretty cheap because the area they're in has this stigma of being kind of shit area. But a lot of those shit areas, because they're so cheap, a lot of like younger families are moving there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. What you were saying before.
Speaking of newer house, do you like the wacky ass color scheme from my office?
Yeah, I was
purple and orange.
Oh, is that purple? I couldn't actually tell that.
Yeah, it's like a deep purple.
Okay. I just noticed the bunch of crap you have sitting around. I didn't even notice the wall colors.
Yeah, that's shit I ain't unpacked yet.
Yeah, I know that feeling. What's that? Yeah, that one there.
That is a mixed media piece that Bone, my wife, made back in college, and it's based off me when I had a thing for steampunk back in college.
Oh, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like, it's basically me wearing a lot of my steampunk stuff with like a hat's made. It looks like a chimney pipe. There's smog coming out of it. My teeth is like charcoal. Goggles are like a clock and vents and stuff.
Are you gonna try to hang that up somewhere, or are you just gonna like leave it on the floor?
I'm gonna hang it up somewhere.
I am not excited for the whole packing and moving part. Like the being at the new place sounds great, but like the packing and moving. At least, okay, my benefit is I haven't lived in like a full house in a very long time. So the first time I moved, it was a pain in the ass because my sister, my mum, and me were all moving out of that place to do our own things. My mum now lives with her partner up in the Riverland. But anyway, moving out of that was a pain in the ass. But now that I've been living like in a room for a while, it's a little bit easier. But you'd be surprised by how much shit you can fit in a room.
We still have crap at that old house that we're like, what is this? When did we get this? Why is it here?
Yeah, I've run across stuff like that. Like I've got you can't see it from here, but I've got a toolbox that's falling apart that I think I made when I was like 10. Like we had like a woodworking class, and for some reason I still have it. It's like if I move it, you can like see the side panels like falling off. You have to like pop them back into place to make sure it doesn't fall out. But hey, I'm not buying a new one. It works.
I'm not throwing this away. I made this.
Definitely, absolutely. Like I can't throw it away because if I try to throw it away, my mum's gonna be like, "Can I have that?" Like, sure, you can have it if you really want to.
I thought she'd be like, "No, bro, don't throw it away. You made that."
Yeah, she'd do that as well, but then she just, because they've got a much bigger property there. They've got like 2 or 3 acres, so like, and a mass, like a really big shed. For a while, they're actually renting out half the shed to store someone's glider. That gives you a reference to like how big the shed was.
God. So you'll have to tell me about how you do stuff on Tech Over Tea because of this podcast me and a coworker are starting.
So, God, my setup is jank. So I've got the main way I get the video capture. So I've got on my main screen the Discord window set up into grid mode. And then basically, in OBS, I take 2 inputs from that window, and then I crop out the cameras and just stick them like on my overlay. There's nothing really fancy going on my overlay. The overlay is just like, it's a PNG with where the webcams would be just cut out, and then cameras just put behind it, basically. Yeah, my setup's pretty basic in that regard. Like, there's not much else I think that's really noteworthy. Oh, I do put my my audio on different layers. So your audio and my audio on separate layers, just if I need, I don't know, I need to like raise and lower volume levels, things like that. I can do it, you know, you can do it if they're on the same track. It's just, it's not as easy if they're separate.
Right.
Or if there's like, you know, an audio issue or something like that. In some cases, you can sort of recover it when it's like that, or you can just, I don't know, make something happen, I guess. Sometimes they'll have like a backup recording. Like some guests I've had, they've actually like recorded their side themselves, so if something goes wrong, like you can always replace it like that. I think that's actually a good idea to do, like actually having both people record it, just in case something goes wrong. Because you can always like even though you have to like sync shit up, you can get the same basic result from it when they are split up like that.
What do you use for distribution?
What do you mean?
Like putting them on different platforms and stuff.
Oh, so I do everything through a platform called Anchor. Anchor is it's a Spotify service. Basically, they will do all of the magic of getting the podcast out there. Because it's fine for most platforms. Like getting onto Google Podcasts, getting onto actually, what do we have on here? Actually, don't know what the full list is. Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker. Most of them are completely fine. The one that you want to be on that is a fucking pain in the ass is Apple Podcasts, because Apple is the dumbest company on the planet. So to get a podcast onto Apple Podcasts, you need to have a verified Apple account, which means that you need to have an Apple account that has made a purchase. Why? I don't want to make a purchase to put a podcast on your stupid platform. But if you do it through Anchor, there's other services that do it as well. They handle all that stuff for you, and then automatically, they give you an RSS feed and stuff as well for that. Anchor is also free as well, which is nice. And being in the US, there is they have like an ad program as well, where they can like hook you up with like, you know, sponsors that might want to work with you if the thing gets big enough. That's not available in Australia at this point, I believe, unless they've changed it. Also, Anchor has a monthly sub attached to it as well if you want to use that. It's just like an optional thing. That actually wasn't there before. They added that very recently. Yeah, that's the main stuff for that. For the video uploads, I just do. I don't know if you want to do video uploads, but for the video uploads, I just do those manually. I just put them on YouTube and Odyssey and wherever else I want to put them. Sorry?
I was gonna say, or I'll use it as an excuse for one of those ideas I have about syndicating videos everywhere because I'm fucking lazy.
Well, you were working on something like that for streaming ages ago, and then you needed to go get an actual job, and then I don't know if you ever finished that project.
And then same thing happened to it that happens to millions of other developers, which is it got thrown in the discarded projects column.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So with all of like the little podcast apps like Anchor and things, not Anchor, AntennaPod, things like that. A lot of those apps, it will say they're not like in the list on Anchor, but a lot of those services, they basically just pull everything from Apple Podcasts. So that's why you want to be on Apple Podcasts, because everyone who isn't like using their own feed management stuff just pulls from Apple, because I guess Apple just opens up the API.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's see, anything else? I don't think there's anything else too crazy that I could mention. Do you have anything specific you are not sure about?
No, actually, I think the main question I was about the distribution method. Because most of the other stuff, I think we already have ideas, because like we already have a name, we're trying to work on the branding. We're trying to work out when to do it, and we already have a spreadsheet of topics to cover. which the brief summary of what we're probably going to be talking about is basically just like the podcast is going to be called Off the Clock.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, me and him kind of talking about like stuff we've done like in work and things relating to work, and also things to do to get you where you don't have to fucking work. Hopefully, at some point.
All your money into Dogecoin. No, what you do is you just follow Elon Musk on Twitter and you just bother him about your favorite project, and then eventually he might tweet about it.
Yeah, I made that joke to him once when we were chatting in one-on-ones once. I was like, I actually said the same thing. I was like, just follow fucking Elon, and as soon as you see him tweet about something, just make sure you're all in right before that happens.
Yup. I was like, God, you don't know how many projects I'll see like in Elon's like replies being like, hey, can you talk about me? No, shut up. Stop trying to get like, okay. I don't know how Elon Musk has not been contacted by has not been contacted and has not been barred from talking about crypto on Twitter, because he is openly manipulating the market and nobody gives a shit. There's a reason why he's not allowed to talk about Tesla on Twitter without going through like a board of people that like validate the tweet, because he's gotten in trouble for manipulating the Tesla stock before, but he openly does it with crypto and no one cares. Like he's even encouraged to do it.
No one cares except the hordes of them swarming around him like flies on shit, hoping he talks about them.
No one cares except the people, except the projects that he shits on.
Yeah.
Like there was what I think he said. Oh, what was it? I don't own any Shiba Inu or something. Some random. Yeah. I think it might have been that one. And the price is woo.
And all you see people going like, no.
I kind of like the state of the shitcoin market at this point, but there's going to be so many people that are getting burnt over the past couple of years. Like I got into crypto. I think it wasn't at the bottom of COVID, but it was just after it started coming back up. And at that point you could make money by literally putting money into anything. Everything went up. It didn't matter what you put money into. Literally like you could find just some shitcoin project and it made you money. But we've moved past that because, you know, markets have recovered to a level where they're not just 200% in the gutter. Like when everything's 200% in the gutter, it's easy to make money. But because of that, because people have this idea that it's still super easy to make money with crypto, you have a lot of these projects that are coming out that are like, fucking Rap Dog, which actually, that's not me making one up, that actually was a thing that existed. Rap Dog and all of these dog-themed coins and all of these other random shit coins that are all being like, yes, this is gonna go to the moon. We don't actually have any foundation to why our coin is good. Everything is powered by meme economics. That's the only thing that's holding this coin up. Actually, that while I'm on the topic of ranting about that, I want to tell you about a coin that you may have heard of. I hope you haven't heard of it, because it'd be funny if you haven't. Where's the website? Here's the website. Okay, I'm gonna show it on the screen. Where's my Discord window? Did I close it? I closed it. Yes, it did. Here we go.
Oh no!
This is Shark Girl Token. Who are totally not going to get sued by Cover Corp.
Oh my god, dude.
Do you want to know what the best part about this is?
What is that? It's
so openly, allegedly a scam, that if you click on the link to the white page, it doesn't have a link attached to it. It's just a button. It's just a button that does nothing. Like, it's not even pretending like it's like this is actually not allegedly a scam.
Oh no.
There are so many examples of this I could show you, but you can actually buy this coin. You can buy this. You shouldn't, because its price went into the gutter, because of course it did. Currently it is worth How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, how many? Wait, is that a 400? Wait, 400 thousandths of a percent, something like that, of a dollar. Sorry. But hey, the price went up.
Does Gura know about it yet?
Look, she probably does. She probably does. But she's probably not allowed to mention it.
Okay, maybe I should have reworded. Has she publicly acknowledged it?
Oh no, definitely not. No.
Okay.
No, I don't think Cover's going to until they sue it.
Hmm.
The crypto market is a meme.
The only like crypto involvement I even have now is because I have there's a service called BlockFi.
The name's ringing a bell. I'm not sure why. I keep talking about it. I'll just bring it up.
Their initial thing is they basically have these like crypto interest accounts.
Oh, it's one of those. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, I think I converted like a bunch of BAT I had at one point into Ethereum and chucked it in there.
Okay. Yeah. If it's gonna be your coin that you got for free, hey, who cares?
Yeah. And it's not like a ton of interest, but it's like way more interest than you get from a fucking savings account.
Yeah. That's fair.
And they also they released their credit card that it's a rewards credit card that rewards you in Bitcoin.
Uh-huh. I saw you had a thing on there about credit card rewards.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which actually funny enough, I think after
tell
I
me
said
about
that, I
credit
was
card
like,
rewards.
yeah. I was like, actually after I put that, I was like, wait, doesn't Luke Smith like meme on that, or had like a big rant about like he abuses the fuck out of
Yes, he does. He has like a big list of different cards you could get to abuse it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he explains why they're abusable.
Mm-hmm.
But so for brief, I guess, intro to abusing the fuck out of credit cards for somebody. So everyone's probably heard of rewards credit cards, right? You use them, you spend money, you get something back. Also, a lot of credit cards like those tend to have like introductory offers where it's like, hey, if you spend $1,000 in the first 2 months, we'll give you $200 credit or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is that if you're responsible with using a credit card, which, especially after seeing some of those credit scores, people don't do that very well. You can essentially sort of just use these, get a bunch of free money, and not actually have any of the downsides to it. Because something I learned more recently, this is not financial advice, by the way, is
that's very important, dude. This is not financial advice. This is just two bearded dudes on the internet.
As far as I understood, because I asked a couple of people, tax professionals, about this,
mm-hmm.
so I always wondered, well, hold on, I'm actually getting like a decent little extra side income from doing this. Do I have to like record this on taxes?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is depending on how you get it, but most likely the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because if you have to spend money to get the reward, it's not considered income, it's considered a rebate.
Right, okay.
And in that case, the IRS is like, well, at least for now, the IRS is like,
Yep.
Yeah. And
well,
I
don't think there's that many people abusing the credit card loophole that warrants the IRS being like, this is such a serious thing we need to worry about.
Yeah, if enough people did, they would. Because I'm actually at some point going to have like a big write-up about this. And probably explain it a little better than fucking Papa Luke did. Because I think I've probably, over the last 2 years, I've probably gotten like probably close to about $3,000 or $4,000 extra dollars from intro offers and just the rewards off credit cards.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The one thing to be careful about, if you do try this, you shouldn't. It's not financial advice, but if you do, be very careful that you don't fuck it up and destroy your credit score. Because if you do that, this will destroy it.
Yeah, okay. I even tell you how to do it. You know how you do it is you pick a card that has an intro offer. Get it? Okay. Now this is the only way you do transactions temporarily. Actually, I wouldn't even ever use a debit card as the main form of transaction anyway, because then you're playing with your own money, not someone else's money. Literally all I do is as soon as anything posts on that card, I pay it off.
Yep.
I don't think any card I have keeps a balance on it for longer than a month, which generally means you don't get charged interest.
Yep.
Period. Yeah. That's it. As long as you do that.
Yeah, I can't speak for anywhere else, but I use, because I'm trying to build up a credit score. I use a credit card to buy everything. I pay it off, as soon as the bank lets me pay it off. There's always gonna be like
Smart,
that.
Man.
There's gonna be like that period where it's like, oh, you have $300 to pay back, but it hasn't like cleared yet, so you can't actually pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have anything else. Like, I have a phone plan because phone plans are a scam. I don't have a car loan because car loans are a scam. So credit card is basically the only way to do it. Like, okay, the phone plans are a scam because you don't need like 50 gigabytes of data on a phone. Like, you don't need to pay $120 a month to get 50 gigs of data. Like, that's stupid. Stop it. There's free Wi-Fi everywhere, and how much are you doing outside of free Wi-Fi that you need that much data? It's a phone. Car loans are a scam because you shouldn't be buying a $10,000 car. Like, stop it. You don't need that. Just buy a shitbox. It's fine.
You know what else is a scam you didn't mention? Although I'm sure this is purely an American problem. Health insurance that involves more than one person.
We do have private health insurance here. It's just, it's a thing that most people don't get.
Right.
What's the problem with health insurance for more than one person? What's the deal there?
The cost just explodes exponentially.
Right.
So
okay.
The last time I was offered, because usually most people get their health insurance through their employer. And I've never
understand this.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to sign up for it yearly.
Right.
The last time I was offered health insurance from my employer, if it just covered me, it was much more reasonable. It was like $80 a month. Okay,
right.
That's more reasonable. As soon as I add in my wife, boom, shoots up to about $400 or $500. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me do some math here. How many times in the course of a year am I actually going to use this? Like the going to actual like clinic or something? Probably 4 at the most for like routine visits. How much is a routine visit? Well, if I have no insurance, it's about $120. Okay. If with the insurance, they usually have copay, it's like $20. So, okay, the health insurance for that visit is saving me $100. But I still had to pay $400 or $500 that month to have the insurance in the first place. So we're still in the red right now. So like you would literally have to go to the clinic like 5 times in 1 month to actually like warrant the cost of the health insurance. Now, granted, I understand the whole point of this shit is for emergencies. I'm in my early 30s. She's in my late 20s. We don't have to fucking worry about like suddenly going to the ER all of a fucking sudden. So I don't really care about that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I can't speak on health insurance because, as I said, Australian.
Yeah.
We just have Medicare. We get like a 3.5% Medicare surcharge on our tax. That's basically all. Which does mean that you can pay a shitload of money if you accidentally make a lot of money, with crypto. God, my tax last year was a fucking mess. I don't want to say how much I made, but I made quite a bit with the crypto boom. And my tax bill, I think it was close to 16,000. So I just had to fork out that at the end of the year, which was great. But hey, I still left the year with a lot of extra money, so not all bad. Just it always, like, even if you make a bunch of money, it feels very depressing to just hand over like $10,000-$15,000, no matter what it's for.
Yeah.
But I was talking about a shitbox cars before. My car, it's fucking falling apart. Like my mirror is held on, like my driver's side mirror held on with duct tape, because someone hit it and it's just fell off. All of my paint is like peeling off, but it's not a bad thing because my car's already silver. That's the big brain strat. They never know the paint's peeling. I've had to replace like the front screen window once because I had a chip in it. That's the only repair I've done in a long ass time. And it's fine, it runs. I paid like $3,000 for it. I've had it for like 3 years.
My car needs something fixed on it really bad because it's had this problem for like, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years or something, where when I put gas in it,
right,
and only when I put gas in it, it has this problem where it has a very hard time starting for just that one time. Like I have to do I have to do this fucking little routine where I take the emergency brake off, I turn it till it finally like turns over and starts. I have to give it gas. If I don't give it gas, it shuts back off. And then I have to like give it enough gas that it revs up, put the fucking thing in drive and go. If I take my foot off the gas, it'll turn back off.
Okay.
And I have to do that for 3 or 4 seconds, and then it's fine.
Right.
That's my like panic-inducing trip that I have every time I have to put gas in my car.
You know, I'm not a mechanic. I can't tell you to fix that one, but I feel like you should go see one of those. Like, as long as the car's running, it's fine. If it gets me from point A to point B, I don't really care.
Yep.
Oh, God. We should probably just take a quick break just so I can fix up the thing. And we are back. What were we talking about? We're talking about cars. Why are we talking about cars? I don't know anything about cars. We're talking about car loans being a scam, and somehow we got to talk about our cars being shitboxes.
Yep.
So I've actually been having a very fun problem recently. So my ISP is run by a bunch of morons. So I'm gonna call them out. Optus, you're shit. Fix your stupid routing. So for the past couple of days, I've been trying to play Final Fantasy XIV. Now that's usually fine, you know. It's not a problem. But for whatever reason, I have not been able to connect to the Final Fantasy XIV authentication servers through Optus. But if I open up a VPN, it works. Someone reported the exact same problem over on Reddit. It's still a problem. It's been a problem for about 3 days now. What the hell?
It is an oddly specific problem.
Yeah, you can't connect to the authentication servers. You can't connect to, like, I think you might be able to connect to the game servers, but their auth servers don't work. I try to ping it outside of the game client, so it's not the game client being weird. I literally cannot connect to it unless I open up a VPN. I then, you know, route back to my own country, and then it works. It is just a problem with my ISP having no idea what to do.
I wonder if for some reason something under the system went weird and like, I don't know, blacklisted a domain or the IP for
someone at Optus just doesn't like Final Fantasy XIV. They're actually like they're still like sniffing the copium for WoW.
That's what I was about to say.
They want to make sure the Endwalker fails, so they're making it so you can't play the game. Like, I don't know how this problem even occurs. Like, I thought maybe it was Japanese servers. I tried to connect to like the Japan Times, and I tried a bunch of other Japanese websites. All fine. Just the Square Enix servers, and just the Square Enix servers for Final Fantasy XIV, and nothing else.
You said all servers. I guess it wouldn't matter if you change region or anything.
No, I try to ping like the. I play on JP, but I try to ping like the American servers, try to ping the European servers. All have the same problem.
Oh. You said also, how far are you in 14 now?
I I don't want to give spoilers for anyone listening. I have just finished the section in Castrum Sestri. I think I'm at like level 46 in the MSQ. No, 46 or 49 in the MSQ. So I'm very close to the end of the 2.0 Realm Reborn content.
Okay.
I think maybe I have like 5 or 6 more quests until we actually finish all of the Realm Reborn stuff.
I never played any of the actual expansions, but when they did a Realm Reborn, I did play a fairly decent bit. I at least finished like all the main story and stuff.
Right.
Actually, I didn't have the account anymore, but I actually did play that before the rework.
Oh.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I've seen some videos about like how the game worked before the rework. There was like skill points and stuff, and
Yep.
yeah, like it's definitely a good game now. It looked like it wasn't a very good game before though.
I'm trying to remember. I want to say a lot of the elements of the original version of 14 were taken from 11.
Right.
So like the god awful like monotonous menuing. And I think you had to raise like skill proficiencies by using them.
Okay.
Stuff like that. And like if you didn't, like you like couldn't hit shit or would do like no damage.
Right.
kind of like vanilla WoW with like weapon skills or something.
In case you didn't know, 11's actually like the servers are still running.
Yeah.
And it's still getting like content updates.
Yeah, I never played it, but like, well, no, that's not right. I've actually tried it a long time ago, but yeah, it still has a little cult following around it.
Yeah, it's obviously nowhere near as big as 14 is, which recently became, unsurprisingly, the most profitable game for the entire history of Square Enix.
Nice.
Which is, yeah, it is really cool because one of the things that Yoshi P has said is he really wishes that 14 had the budget of WoW because there's a lot of things that he would love to do that you just can't do on the budget they have.
Yeah.
But it's very quickly becoming like part of the the core MMOs, the RuneScape 3, the old school RuneScape, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, and now 14. WoW. WoW's still technically a part of that group of big MMOs, but man, have you been paying attention to the shit that's been like coming out?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Man, what the fuck is what are they called? Activision Blizzard? Blizzard Activision, whatever the hell they've called themselves. Man, this is an insane company.
Yeah, in between just all the god-awfully dumb decisions they made with the game, combined with all the like insane, nasty PR shit that came out.
Like it would be
cubicle crawling.
Like it would be one thing if the game was just not good. There's a lot of games that are not good, but like that's where you should stop. Like we don't need the rest of it.
No.
For anyone who hasn't caught up on the Blizzard Activision stuff, like go and check it out. Go and see like what go and specifically look up the stuff with Bobby Kotick because and the reason why they haven't gotten rid of him, the reason why he's still there is because he has a $300 million severance package. So if, like they fire him, they basically will probably do a lot of damage to the company because I don't think they can recover from a $300 million severance package right now.
What was that? Well, I know it was one of those little things that came out. I didn't know this till I think my wife told me because she plays Overwatch a fair bit. Was that they completely renamed one of the characters because the character was named after somebody that I think was accused of like sexual assault allegations or something.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
That like there's funny stuff that came out of it as well, like when they replaced a woman with a bowl of fruit. Do you know about that?
No, wait, what is it?
I'll show you. So basically, there was a sexy portrait, and they're like, that's too sexy for WoW. So, and also everyone works at the company is incredibly sexist. So the way we fix sexism is we just remove women from the game. You cannot be sexist if there are no women. It's like, there's some logic there, but I don't think that's the path you should really be taking.
Oh no, that orange slice looking nice though.
Like, what is like? I don't know if there's any way right now that WoW can recover from the bad PR, because I don't think anyone's excited for WoW at this point. Like, I remember when I was younger and like WoW, like I was a RuneScape player when I was a kid, but WoW was always seen as like, the really cool MMO, the MMO that everyone plays. But like, I can see why a lot of people are saying that we're in like the golden age of MMOs now, because there's a lot of really good games that you might want to play, like the ones I mentioned before. RuneScape 3. I don't care too much for RuneScape 3, but like I totally get why you'd play it. Old school RuneScape, which isn't just like classic WoW. It's actually like it's old RuneScape, but they keep adding content to it. You have Guild Wars 2, which still has a really big player base. Elder Scrolls Online, and Final Fantasy 14 now.
And also now Amazon's throwing their hat in the ring.
I don't know if New World's going... New World looks like a really cool game. I don't know if New World's going to survive, though. Like, that game it's a buggy mess. Like, there's been problems where if you, like, moved the window, the game client around, it wouldn't send any requests from the server to the game client. So if you did that during a dodge roll and you moved it like during the iframes, it would keep trying to attack you, but the server still thinks you're in the iframe state and you just didn't take damage.
The only bug about that I remember seeing somebody mention was something about how, the chat was just like some kind of like embedded like web element, and you could just inject malicious code.
The chat was basically an HTML frame, and you could inject HTML into it. Just like I get having the HTML frame, but do you know what you do when you do that? You don't let people write HTML elements. You just automatically encapsulate everything in paragraph tags. That's all you do.
Please sanitize user input.
Well, like, if you let people write HTML into it, you just automatically escape. You sanitize. You escape everything. Like, this is basic shit. And it's funny because it's coming from Amazon. Actually, the funniest stuff with New World was the fact they were having serious server congestion stuff when it's hosted by Amazon on AWS. It's like, guys, you literally own web hosting. You are the web hosting. How are you fucking this up? Like, I get that every game's gonna have a lot of difficulty when it first launches, but come on, you didn't think that New World, like, oversize your servers. Go ahead. You'll be fine. But like, everything was congested. There was like 19-hour waits for some people, like 10,000 person queues. Like, what even is this?
Oh my god.
I complain about like the 50-person queues I get every single day in FF14, but that's nothing compared to what New World had.
I'm trying to remember what like my worst like MMO launch queue experience was. I want to say it was. Do you ever heard of an MMO called Ion?
The name's ringing a bell.
It was like this Korean MMO where you played like these two races that like were like almost kind of like angels and dark angels.
Yeah, I know.
Like it had like a strong emphasis like flight mechanics. Yeah, when that game released, if I remember correctly, there were like multi-day wait queues. Because they really, really undershot their server capacity.
I really just don't like Korean MMOs. I feel like the armor is a bit too gaudy for me. Like, there's no games where they just have, like you can have gaudy armor. Like some of the stuff in FF14 looks pretty ridiculous, but
Yeah.
there's a certain there's an even further level of ridiculousness that every single Korean MMO has.
Yeah.
But it's like having spikes coming off your spikes leading into plates. Like what? Like, just calm down.
The arrows either like horrendously like cartoony or like overly anime, or it's literally like that's not armor. That's a two-piece. That's a bikini. This looks like you walked out of a screen. This looks like you walked out of a fucking video that's going up on Pornhub later.
I've never actually played an MMO on launch. Like every single MMO I get into, it's always actually no. Sorry, I lied. I did get into an MMO on launch. Adventure Quest Worlds, back when that came out.
I think I heard about that. I never played it before.
Did you ever play Adventure Quest? It was a Flash.
I don't think so.
It's a Flash RPG. There's that sort of ages it already. Adventure Quest Worlds. When did it come out? God, let's see. 2008 is when I played it. So I would have been 10. Yeah.
Dang out.
It was a fun game. Servers are dead now. Like they're alive, but there's no one playing them. So the only people that are playing that game are the ones who are standing in the hub area, showing off their gear they got 10 years ago. Those are the only people that are still playing it. That and gold farmers, because that's what happens with every MMO.
Yep.
Like I totally get like buying gold in a game that's popular, a game that people are playing, but why would you buy gold in a game that's basically dead?
Have you ever bought gold before?
No, I haven't.
I have actually.
What game are you playing?
I technically, wow.
Okay.
I think I bought gold back during Burning Crusade to afford my flight license because it was expensive as fuck.
Right. I have considered it in the past, but like when I was like really into MMOs, it was during like when I was in like early high school, and I didn't have money because I was lazy and didn't want to get a job basically. But I have considered it, that's for sure. And hey, look, nowadays you don't need to buy gold. A lot of games will just sell it to you.
True.
Look, even games that don't have like a direct way to buy gold, like WoW, it has the WoW tokens. You can't buy gold with that, but you can buy things to buy gold.
Yep.
God. I think that anytime a game lets you inject real world money into the economy, you're going to start seeing some serious problems. Like, it's going to start very much breaking the way that things are actually priced.
Yeah, wasn't that, that was the issue with Diablo 3 initially, if I remember correctly. Because they had that real money auction house.
Yep. I never actually played Diablo 3. I wanted to play it after, what was the expansion? Reaper of Souls came out, but I never played it. And since then, from what I hear, the game's basically just been left to die. Like, it's never got anything else after that.
Yeah. As far as I understand, it's basically in autopilot mode.
Which is kind of sad because, people were very excited I remember when Diablo 3 came out, like, all of the gaming outlets were super hyped for it, and it seemed like, compared to Diablo 2, it seemed like it was obviously dumbed down because they wanted it on consoles, but it still seemed like it was a good game.
Yeah, it's alright. It's, how do I describe it? It's dumb fun.
Right.
You don't really have to think, like, even if, like, you don't even have to, like, look up, like, builds, really. Like, if you generally just, like, use some of the shit that you find and you can at least put, like, correlate what makes the most sense. Like, you could just basically face roll through most of the content.
I say it's dumbed down because it's on consoles, but technically it doesn't need to be. When you played 14, did you play it on keyboard and mouse or with a controller?
I've played it on both at one point or another.
I don't understand like how they managed to fit so many buttons on a controller.
I know, dude, but actually it works though. Like it's actually not that hard to play with a controller. Actually, at least not when you're. I can't speak if you're trying to do something like healing. That might be a bit more.
A mate of mine plays White Mage on controller.
Oh, okay. Well,
Some of the jobs don't work. Some of the things that are like very combo heavy don't work as much, but White Mage seems like it's fine at least.
Mm-hmm. When you say because they're combo heavy, just because they don't have enough room for all the buttons?
Because you sort of have to, it's very, very difficult to, switch between your different hotbars and all that fun stuff. You gotta have that like Korean gamer skill. I'm sure you could lay it out in a way that makes it easier. But from what I know, I think Ninja doesn't play nicely on a controller. You can do it, but it's not as nice as keyboard and mouse. I just say fuck it to both and use an MMO mouse.
Oh yeah, I have my entire hotbar on my thumb.
Yup. Honestly, it's lovely. Like I can't go back to not having an MMO mouse now. I see the way that some people sort of get around like the problem with a keyboard where if you have things on like 0 or minus, they're kind of difficult to hit. But look, when you get an MMO mouse, you can move and also hit actions at the same time. It's great.
I'd probably have a hard time getting used to a controller like that. I noticed something recently that I don't know why I never noticed this for a super long time. So, you know how pretty much any controller nowadays, for consoles anyway, has like 2 buttons on top on each side? Like a shoulder and a trigger button?
Yeah.
Because I grew up in the time where controllers did not have that, like, Super NES or stuff like that, where they only had 1 button. Even when I'm holding those controllers, I don't hold them like this. I hold them like this.
Yeah, I
do this.
I'm one of these people as well. I see people who play like this. I'm like, how do you move those fingers like that? I don't get it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's better on the PlayStation controller. The PlayStation controller feels a bit nicer, but I'm just not used to moving these fingers. Yeah. I'm just flipping off the chat. But yeah, like I don't play like I get it. Like it probably is more efficient to get used to it, but like yeah, no, I can't. And I started on the PS2.
You're ruining like three decades worth of muscle memory.
I started on the PS2. I have no excuse. I guess, like, when I got my console, I was really young, though, so... And at the time, the PlayStation control felt like a big control to me, so maybe it's just because of that. Like, when your hands are smaller, it's a bit harder to, have both up there.
Right.
But it feels like controls sort of designed around this sort of grip anyway. Like, it doesn't feel anywhere near as nice. Like, there's not anything supporting your hand under there. I don't know. I think, look, if you can play the game, either way is fine.
I think the only reason I even thought that, and my examples are escaping me now, but I have encountered a few times where, like, doing this is very cumbersome because of the way the certain combinations you have to press, and you basically have to do this, or it feels fucking weird.
I usually just get around that by, like, janking and, like, doing this.
Got a stanky finger on the back end.
Just make it fucking work. I'm not changing my muscle memory. This is why I don't play fighting games, though. Because, like, I cannot, like, I play games that I need to, like, have some level of, quick input. I can do quick reaction time. It's just multiple quick inputs, one after the other, that sort of what's the word? Stumps me. Sort of slows me down. I've just never gotten super serious. I've tried to. I've just never gotten super serious in any games where I need to input like that. And now that I've been playing games for 15 or so years, I've sort of built up to the point where I don't really... It would be very difficult to sort of change from the way I'm playing now.
Right, yeah. I don't play fighting games much either. The only time I ever played a fighting game much that I tried to learn it pretty decently was Mortal Kombat 10. And I tried that. I think I tried to learn one of the characters that was harder to learn too, which was fuck, what's that guy's name? It's the cowboy guy. I forgot his fucking name now. What people probably know what I'm talking about, but yeah, that's the character I was trying to use. And I was like, this is hard because his good combos are hard as shit to pull off. Apparently,
I'm one of those people who only plays fighting games like, you know, at parties. Like, oh, someone just pulls out a copy of Tekken, Mortal Kombat. It's sadly Soul Calibur, which, you know, yeah. I feel bad for any Soul Calibur fans. When was the last one that came out? Oh, there's one that came out 3 years ago. But yeah, no one, like, Soul Calibur's sort of like, I think it's the coolest out of the fighting games. Just it's not that popular.
Yeah, the most entertainment you get out of Soul Calibur is seeing all the see people try to like recreate like other characters in the character create.
It's the same with me for like Smash though. Like, I think Smash is very fun. I just don't play it that often. Like, I don't have a Switch, which is the other problem. But even if I did, like, I'm not the sort of person who would spend a lot of time just getting better at Smash.
Yeah.
I'm actually not the sort of person who really plays competitive games that much anymore either. Like, when I play like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or whatever, I typically disable the network features because I want people invading my world. I just want to play the game. If I want to play something competitive, I'm going to go out of my way to, you know, play whatever games people are playing that are competitive. Apex Legends, I guess. Like, I typically like my game experience to be either solo or cooperative.
I think the last competitive game I played was Heroes of the Storm?
Okay. Did I ever play Heroes of the Storm? I might have played it like with some friends once, maybe, but I've never been much of a MOBA player. There have been times where I wanted to play like Dota, and then I realized like the skill ceiling for a game like that is it's a bit more of a time commitment than I care for.
I think I've probably tried a good handful of MOBAs at one point or another. I know I played League some with people back at the college's gaming club. There was a period where I was playing Smite really heavily while I was in college. And then I played Heroes of Storm pretty heavily after that because the characters in Heroes were just more interesting. It's like I think my favorite one on there was they put Abathur from StarCraft in there, and his thing was he didn't fight on the front lines. He hid back and he could like symbiote to any friendly unit and like attack and support them from anywhere on the map. I always liked that a lot.
Just breaking stuff over here.
I was like, your face has gone dark, Brodie.
For some reason, my light decided to die really early. I don't know why. There we go. Now we're good. The batteries usually last a couple of hours. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it just didn't charge properly. MOBAs look cool. But like, I know they have like sort of a reputation for being like very toxic as well.
Yeah, they do.
That's my other problem with like playing competitive games, because I used to be super toxic gamer. I used to be like super into like Call of Duty, Battlefield, things like that. And I was that person who like, you know, just get really angry about like getting sniped halfway across the map. Having someone who hides in a bush and that being their thing, like, no, I want nothing to do with that.
There was actually a friend of ours from back at my hometown that like he quit playing with him because they play Heroes of the Storm sometimes together, and the friend that we don't really talk to much anymore, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with him one day, but he got super pissed and he dropped the like go kill yourself, and I was like, all right, buddy, I think we're done here. Okay.
Oh Lord. Yes, I've done that plenty of times. sometimes comes out. It sometimes comes out in single player games, like when I play something like fucking like Bloodborne, for example. You know, there's sometimes you get stuck on a boss and you're like, mate.
This shit's kind of starting to piss me the fuck off, man.
It's okay. I think the difference with something like actually, this is a good point with like game difficulty. I think the difference with something like Bloodborne compared to, I don't know, pick some difficult game that's not fair on its difficulty. Like when you die in a game like Bloodborne, like Dark Souls, things like that, most of the time it feels like your fault. Like it feels like you made a mistake because the enemies don't have these like random attack combos. If you do something, they're going to typically react in a very specific way. There are some situations where Bloodborne's a bit buggy. I've had enemies that get stuck underground and like just their like heads sticking up and they like swing their arms at you somehow still. Or I had have you played Bloodborne?
Yeah, I have.
Do you remember what was her name? Vicar Amelia, the big dog thingy that like it's in the church. It sometimes she'll like sit down and like pray to heal.
Oh yes.
And she'll like swing her arm to grab you sometimes. I had a situation where I was outside of this, like clearly the arm did not hit my character, but it like swung me over to where she was, where she was trying to pull me. Like, no, stop that. What are you talking about? Like I know game hitboxes are difficult, but for something like that, it needs to be accurate.
Yeah. Was that did you beat that boss by like killing it before it even healed, or did you do the oh wait, there's a thing I have that stops things from healing?
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a item that you can find or buy. It's like some kind of mist stuff. When you hit shit with it, they can't heal.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking
like I think it's probably technically meant more for like PvP because you can't use blood vials when you have it, but like it works on enemies. If they heal, when that boss goes to pray, if you chuck it at her, it stops her heal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was the only way I killed that boss.
I realized at some point that when she like falls down to the ground, you can actually get a like a well, I don't know what they call it, like the parry strike on her face.
Yeah.
I recently got through, what was his name? Ligarius, the guy on top of the Canehurst castle. He has like swords that fly from the sky.
Yeah, I was watching you fight part of that.
Yeah, I didn't realize until like 10 attempts in that you can hit the sword that makes the swords fly down. So I was trying to fight him like with a handicap, basically.
That makes sense. You're actually way further than I ever got. So like some of the stuff you're doing, I never even seen. So like, I was like, yeah, when you got to that second stage and he was like, shit storm of swords, I was like, what the fuck? What are you?
Yeah, I should have realized. Because you can target the sword. I just did. I didn't realize at all.
Just hit the big glowing thing on the ground forehead.
Another game that like does the whole "you're just bad at the game" thing really well is like Dead Cells. Dead Cells and Hades both do this very well as well. Like if you die in those games, it's generally because you're just bad at them.
Right.
There are, I think, less so in Dead Cells than Bloodborne situations where the game just breaks. Dark Souls 2, on the other hand.
Never played that one, but I've heard stuff.
There's one of the bosses, it's like a big rat, and at the start of the fight, there's a bunch of these little rats. And if you don't kill the little rats straight away, you get toxic. Now, this is fine on New Game Plus. On first playthrough, you don't have poison heal items yet. They just don't exist. So you just die. So if you do not kill them straight away, you just lose. There's nothing you can do. Literally nothing.
Wow. I never played the second one. I've played the first one. I played the third one.
I've not played third yet. I did. I played like 2 hours of the third. Got through like the second boss or something like that. I did think that first boss you fight like at the start, like in that first area you go to, was pretty cool. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it being cool.
It was like
I feel like it transforms or something.
Yeah. I remember the first like boss bot. Maybe that's the thing we're talking about. You know the one that like crawls on all fours and has like a mace.
Yeah, maybe I'm just getting games confused.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, no, I do remember that boss. I'm just not sure where it was from. The Souls game's really good. I think they're good. I'm very excited for Elden Ring.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that was till I think I saw somebody talk about it, and I was like, oh, it's like almost like giant open world Dark Souls. I'm in.
And it's just as cheesable. During the network test, someone found out that one of the dragon bosses in the overworld, it can jump onto a mountain, but they didn't fix the way they calculate full damage. So if the dragon jumps off the mountain, it just dies. It just takes like 20,000 damage. So what's happening there, from what I understand, is they were still calculating full damage based on the size of the player character model. They didn't account for like different size models. So even though for the dragon it would be the equivalent of you jumping down like 3 meters, it's still calculating it like if you jumped off the mountain. So it just, yeah, it was really fucking dumb.
It just explodes.
Pretty much. It's the same as getting like the what is it, the Taurus demon in Dark Souls 1 jumping off the bridge. That's one of the things I don't like about Bloodborne. Like a lot of the bosses, like with Kanehurst, you can't get him to jump off the roof. He just refuses to. Like, don't put an invisible wall there. Let me just kill him like that.
Speaking of games, we should talk about Linus's fun Linux challenge.
This is why I was almost late for the podcast. I was just planning out my reply.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like 5 minutes into it, into like the second part. Okay, first part, I think first part, Linus justifiably made a lot of errors. I think the problem with Pop! OS, I think Linus is responsible for... He's responsible for his actions. Like, anyone who says he's not responsible for, saying yes to the prompt is just denying what, like, denying his free agency as a person. Like, he could have chosen to read the entire prompt. He didn't. Pop! OS has the responsibility to make sure the prompt actually is something the user is encouraged to read. If it's just this giant wall of white text, like, why would I read that? And then it says, yes, do as I say. Like, that doesn't sound like anything bad. That just sounds like an annoying admin prompt.
It does, yeah.
I know it's crazy. This isn't a black and white situation. Pop! OS and Linus are both at fault. Linus discovered in the second part that it's not just... The reason why people don't like NVIDIA on Linux isn't just because the drivers aren't open source. It's because they're actually bad. He was going through like the NVIDIA control panel. Was like, why does the control panel look like it's from 10 years ago? Why is it laid out like this? Why are there basic features missing? I don't use NVIDIA specifically for that reason. I'm always going to use AMD on Linux, just at least until NVIDIA, cares at all. Just support, like, don't donate like $20,000 or $30,000 to the Novo project if you're not going to support it with developers. Do something to make the open source drivers better. Better yet, actually just send developers to it. But yeah.
I think if next time I make a Linux system, it's gonna be all AMD based, because this is like an old one I had before I was like super using Linux, so it still has an NVIDIA GPU in it. Like,
you can use NVIDIA GPUs, but you sort of just have to be aware that there's going to be problems.
Right, yeah.
Let's see, what else was in the first part? I'm trying to remember. It was a while ago now. I know Luke had basically no problems.
Yeah, I did find it funny. I think you had this like funny reaction too whenever Linus first put Pop! OS on there. He was like, "Oh, I was wondering if my monitor in the other room that's hooked up through Thunderbolt would work. And he was like, "Oh, actually it worked." And you were like, "Hey, isn't that amazing? It's like there's drivers in the current."
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it because the Windows installer isn't like that. The Windows installer is like a separate thing from Windows, but I guess it's not really made clear from like downloading the ISO that it actually is just a full installation of Pop OS.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's not really the misunderstanding, because the misunderstanding there is that in Windows, like the drivers are all separate, or because you have to like constantly download drivers to use shit. But in Linux, all the stuff more or less is baked into the kernel.
Well,
that's why you almost never have to get drivers.
The difference with Linus's setup is because he has an NVIDIA card. And if the driver, like the NVIDIA drivers aren't part of the kernel, they have to be added through dynamic kernel something or other system. Module system? I don't know. It's a thing where you can like interact, you can make modules interact with the kernel, so things that are out of tree can be added, like NVIDIA drivers, like the VirtualBox guest utility things, so you can like change resolution in a VM, things like that. I can get why Linus would think that wouldn't work, because I think he knew that the NVIDIA drivers weren't like supposed to be there, like at least some level of knowledge about NVIDIA drivers being weird on Linux. So I can get that being the problem. The Thunderbolt thing though is different, because Thunderbolt is just in the kernel. Thunderbolt's worked for like, I don't know, 7 years now. Whenever, like, it's worked since like pretty much just after Thunderbolt came out. So even though like Linus like his computer setup is really weird. Like he has computers in a separate room in a server rack. That seems like a really annoying thing. Like if you need to troubleshoot stuff.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, because even when I get like a home lab stuff, so like I'm not gonna like run my machine off the fucking shit on the server rack with a.
I get it for like not wanting the noise. You can just put it somewhere else, but like. I wear headphones 99% of the time. I can't hear my computer.
Right, yeah.
Actually, I've got my notes for the second part. I'll see what I've only about like 5 minutes into the video. Well, I watched all of it before, but I'm like 5 minutes in my notes.
Right, yeah.
Because the way I usually do notes for like a video like this is I'll watch it first and then, rewatch it afterwards. Oh, you get this weird problem with Manjaro, or I think it's a weird problem. Right? It's either a weird problem or Linus is still unable to read. So he tried to use sudo apt-get on Manjaro because it came from Pop OS thinking that was package manager. Didn't work. Fair enough. Like anyone could make that issue. Even if you're super experienced with Linux, if you just forget what the distro you're using is based on, like anyone can make that. But he said that when he ran it, like it tried to install a dependency for apt. Like, no. Like I just had to confirm this with like one of my viewers. Be like, can someone here who actually uses Manjaro tell me what happens if you run a command that isn't installed? It says command not found. Like I don't know what he did to get it to try to install a dependency. But maybe I'm convinced he just didn't read what it said at all.
That doesn't sound like it.
What else? He did get into the problem of, device control panels, things like for like your mouse, keyboard, things like that, just not being available on Linux.
Yeah.
So his solution for that was going through a Windows VM.
And I was like, what?
I understand that. If the device has like onboard memory, that's a legitimate way to do it. But a lot of these devices, especially because he has Logitech mice like I do, have really good community software on Linux. For the Logitech stuff, you would use Piper. This is my G600 here. I configure it through Piper. It works perfectly fine. I think the main NAS he's using is the same one that I have, the 305. Might be like a newer version of the 305. But like stuff like that it works great through Piper. Like you don't need to use Windows for it. Some mice are like that. Corsair and Razer both have tools that are pretty good. Anything else, you're very hit and miss. Like, I can't speak for Mad Cats, for example. I don't think there's any Mad Cat software on Linux.
Mhm.
Um,
When he did explain the whole thing about the like whole Windows VM thing, like I was both like, wow, that seems like a lot of effort to get that to work, but at the same time I was like, that's also kind of an interesting idea.
what if I told you that's how I do printing?
Do you?
Yes. I don't print on Linux. I don't want to deal with like I don't think I have like there's drivers available that work on Linux for my printer. So I just do it through Windows. Like people can bully me about it all they want, but like it's just I don't want to spend 3 hours trying to print a document.
Actually, I have this kind of like slightly like nightmare printer related story that's Linux related. So
That's a good start.
For work, when I had my old position, I had to sometimes do test reproduction with the actual printers they use at the stores, and they're Epson printers. Those printers don't work like out of the box on Linux, from what I understood. You had to go get their not just a driver. There was something else you had to get, because when I tried to install it through like the Pop OS like normal way of installing a printer, just didn't work. I had to literally like Google around for like 2 hours to figure out how you set up a printer manually in a terminal with cups. I got it to work, damn it.
My favorite description of cups is cups was created to save the rainforest because it doesn't work. I was very lucky at uni. Firstly, they had Windows computers attached directly to the printer. That's great. The other thing is they had USB ports on them, so I could just plug a device into it, and it had like a built-in thing to do all of that for me. But sadly, my current printer does not have that. Actually, I need to replace it anyway. It's hit the we need to make this printer break end of its life, and just it's stopped working. The print head doesn't work anymore.
Right.
It just prints like it prints like as if the document was interlaced and one of the like every other line is missed. So yeah, I need to get a new printer at some point, but I don't print stuff very often anyway.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think when was the last time I printed anything? God, I don't even know. I think it was something for uni, maybe. Most things you can just email.
Yeah. The last time I think I had to print something was something I had to print and hand signed in regards to the whole mortgage process.
Right.
But other than that, like before that, I probably hadn't even turned that fucking printer on for like a year.
But yeah, you can every so often I'll have someone say to me like, "Oh, printers work great on Linux. You just have to get this very specific model that is known to work." Like, yeah, I don't have that fucking model. That's not my problem. It doesn't work. Like, some brands work better on Linux as well. And I think this is a problem that a lot of Linux people have in their head. A lot of people have this idea that having to buy specific hardware isn't a problem with Linux. Like, no, that's a problem.
Yeah,
like, it's a problem that is caused by the manufacturers not caring about Linux, but it is a problem.
Yep. I wonder, so how much do you think, even though it's not gaming related, how much do you think something like the Steam Deck is going to influence how much other companies, that even if they aren't game related, start caring more about Linux?
I think when it comes to, I don't know, I don't know if it's going to have much of an effect on the peripheral market, that's for sure, and especially software outside of the gaming world, like, I don't know, Slack, things like that. I don't think the Steam Deck's really going to have any effect on that. I think there is some possibility of Like, there is a possibility of like peripheral companies getting their shit together, but besides that, like I think it's mainly just about game devs. That's where I'm thinking. Like, mainly game devs going to put more attention into it, and if game devs put attention into it, I think there's like a knock-on effect that can happen there. But I don't think it's going to be directly related to the Steam Deck. It's going to be like, oh, more games work on Linux, more people try out Linux, more companies, put effort into making Linux stuff work, or giving anything at all. I'm looking at you, GoXLR company that I'm forgetting the name of. Exi, I don't know. Halat, I don't remember the name. So that's an H. Halash. No, it's not right. No, what the fuck is their name? I don't remember. The guys who make the GoXLR. I want a GoXLR. I think it's a really cool device. I just can't use it on Linux.
Yeah, I think even if I did work on Linux, like, that thing's fucking expensive. I don't know if I'd.
Look, I can justify it, but I can totally get why most people couldn't.
Yeah.
But Luke talked about how his mixer board worked perfectly well. I am in a great position to talk about that mixer board because can we see it? Can we see it? Because he has the same one that I have, the MGXU. I think he's a smaller version of it, but he has the exact same mixer board I have. And yeah, it just like there are drivers on Windows, but it actually doesn't need them. I don't know what the drivers do. I literally have no idea what the purpose of those drivers are. But yeah, it's plug and play. It just does everything. Yeah, maybe they're firmware updates.
Yeah, whenever I plug this thing in, it just worked.
Most simple mixer boards tend to work. Like anything where it's like there's an input and there's an output, it's good. If there's like hardware controls, those work because usually they're done on hardware. It's usually the way you see problems is when you have, hardware controls for software features, like the GoXLR sliders, for example,
right?
Or phases or whatever the hell they call them, or you have like the beat button, things like that.
I didn't know the beat button was a thing till one of them mentioned it in the fucking Linus video.
That's why people buy the GoXLR, but you don't need a GoXLR to do that. There are standalone units that can also do the exact same thing, and they're much fucking cheaper. Like, just look up soundboard, yeah. And you'll find them. Like, there's so many. Like, I get why a lot of people, sort of congregate. Is that the word? Onto like these very specific pieces of hardware, like the GoXLR. I am at fault for this. I do have a cloud lifter. It's a great device, but like, I get it. It's easier to just go with what all of the big people are using rather than like doing any research.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of the same logic behind people in development, that instead of trying to think about how to solve their problem, they just go, "Oh, it's best practices. I don't have to think about it. Someone else that's smarter than me told me how to do it."
This is why so many people use fucking Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the worst development environment unless you're doing like Windows GUI like development. Stop it. There are better things to use. The GUI builder is great. I will not talk shit about the GUI builder. The GUI builder is great. Also, it's great for doing SQL Server database stuff. But if you're not doing that, stop it. Use anything else. JetBrains is great. Use JetBrains. My camera focuses on the background. I'm a big JetBrains shill. We're good? Just gonna watch me try to focus my camera. There we go. Okay. Perfect. We're just gonna record like this now. Fine. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there goes. Yeah. I know a lot of people use Visual Studio Code.
Code's great.
I didn't know a lot of people use Visual Studio.
It's not
anybody I've ever worked with.
It's not as big as it used to be, but there's still certainly a lot of people who, they went through uni using Visual Studio because they have boomer professors who don't know other things exist.
True.
But But like, yeah, no, code's great. People talk shit about code, being a Microsoft project, all that, but like, it's probably one of the best code editors. Yes,
Yeah,
I know
I
you
mean,
can turn Vim and Emacs into code editors, but like, I mean something that just comes out of the box as a code editor. Sure, there are things like you can customize better, but if we're talking in the realm of, Notepad++, Sublime Text, Atom, VS Code's probably the best amongst them.
yeah. I mean, if your main contention with VS Code is, again, the data mining that Microsoft tends to do, just get VS Codium, just strip all the telemetry out.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just doing web development, I've seen people who download like full IDEs to do JavaScript dev. Like, stop it. You don't like literally. What are you doing? There's nothing this thing can offer you, but like the code can't do for you.
Speaking of code, I actually, probably for the first time in a long time, I actually learned a language just for the shits and giggles of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it Rust?
It was Elixir.
Okay, I don't know what that one is.
It's a functional language that runs in the Erlang VM.
Okay.
I mostly just learned it because I never used a functional language before.
I've used languages that have like the option to be functional, but I've never used something that is a purely functional language.
Yeah.
This looks cool. It's been a while since I've just written code. Like I tend to only write code right now, like when I have, something I need to do. Like I want to automate, enabling my my tablet, for example. I don't know if you know my tablet cover.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, that's the art that Cyan made for the collab.
Yeah.
Or got made. She didn't make it herself, but like automating, like enabling my tablet, because it's like weird tablet-y things you need to do. Like, but for the most part, I don't really write code for fun too much right now.
Wait.
I still find coding fun. It's just there's so many other things I like doing as well.
I mean, yeah, the only reason I even learned that was there are situations, not just at where I work, but I think that are in general, where Elixir, because it runs in the Erlang VM, makes it inherently very, very resilient to failure. So that's kind of one of its main selling points is like Erlang was literally made by telecom companies to have like as much uptime as possible, and it also handles a lot like concurrency like stupidly well because it actually spins up basically kind of like the same way like Go does Go routines for concurrency. It spins up what they just literally call processes, but shit, they're even lighter weight than Go routines are. And they're memory isolated from each other, unlike Go.
What, you mean you're not going to write your own concurrency in C? What are you, not a real programmer?
I'm not like some of the autists in your...
Yeah, like, the people who tell me that C is the only language that matters are the people who are not developers. Like, maybe they've like contributed to some open source projects like every now and again, but like not a single one of them has a job like as a developer. Because anyone who does, like, doesn't have that opinion. Like, they've used other languages and know that they have their actual usages.
Yep.
Man, the Linux world's always fun for that. I like giving them shit. So it's so easy to get under their skin with stuff like that. You did reply to it on Twitter. The GoDaddy breach that just happened yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, GoDaddy just had another breach, like another really big one. Over 1 million GoDaddy WordPress customers had email addresses exposed in the latest breach. Oh, it's not that bad, actually. I thought this was actually a proper breach. Is it just email? Is it just emails that was exposed? Because that doesn't matter at all.
Wait, no, the thing that I read said there was way more than that.
They could also see the... Oh, they could see the original original WordPress admin password set by the provisioner, as well as the credentials for... Oh, as well as the credentials for active users' databases. Okay, that's a big deal. Also, some users had their private SSL keys exposed. Okay. Lead the article with that. That's the bigger deal. Not, oh, they had their emails exposed. Like, half of them were using the same email they had as a public email anyway.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't expose the email. Yeah, no, that's actually a big deal. Look, stop using GoDaddy. They're shit, and they get hacked every year, it seems.
It's like I even said on there, like, when I saw it on there, I was like, oh, wait, yeah, GoDaddy's this thing that still exists, isn't it? And I think literally the only person I've met in probably the last, like, decade that uses them was this dude who came to fix our air conditioning a couple years ago. Because I was going to help him work on his site because he has no idea how, obviously.
Sure.
And I asked what it was, and he was like, oh, it's GoDaddy. I was like, oh, that exists still? and I was like, he was supposed to follow up so he could give me access because all he literally needed me to do was change the phone number for his business on his site.
Oh, okay.
And he fucking ghosted me, asshole.
How much were you gonna charge him to change a text string?
Well, that wasn't gonna charge him shit because he just fixed our IC.
Nah. Why? Just stop using GoDaddy. I know that they have their ad campaigns that's why there's so many people that use GoDaddy. There's always an ad campaign going on. Like, so many people know GoDaddy exists. Like, GoDaddy's been a thing since I was a kid. And popular since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But stop it. Stop. There are so many other hosting providers and domain providers that you can use. Stop. That this isn't just me being a Linode shill. Literally anyone else is better. Go use Namecheap for your names, and then I don't know, Linode, AWS, the one that calls their thing droplets. What are they?
DigitalOcean.
That one. Thank you.
That's what I use.
Yeah. Anyone else. Or if you want, half them do WordPress hosting as well. Are GoDaddy's prices even good? Why do people, besides just knowing about them, is it just that, people know about them? Is that it?
It probably is. I don't know what their prices are because I haven't been on that site in ever.
These are Australian prices. First year for a .com, it's $22. Okay, now that's going to be very limited in the .coms that are available.
Yeah,
because $22 for a .com, that's... Mate, if you're getting $22 on a .com, that's going to be some, really shitty domain. Because, even just getting, your name, if your name's not, a popular name, is probably going to be more than that.
Also, I'm finding it funny that on their site, if you go to websites, it says, protect against malware and attacks.
Oh, mate. Good luck with that one. Why is .com cheaper than .sydney? I'm looking at Namecheap right now. Just looking at Namecheap for my name. The most expensive one is .so for $90 a year. What the hell is .so? Who cares about .so?
Speaking of that, is Namecheap where you moved your shit after Epic got fucked?
Yep, I moved my names over for all my domains.
I did finally too. I moved it over to fuck is that place? Pork Bun. That's what I moved it over to.
That's gonna be the next one that gets hacked.
Probably.
That's where that's where Luke Smith and all that end up going to. So that's
did they?
Yeah,
Shit.
I have no interest in being on Pork Bun. Sure, they might be censorship resistant and all of that stuff, but that's not very useful when they have a database leak.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be fine. I can't say anything about whether they will be or not. Maybe they actually handle their data properly and don't store full credit card strings. Fucking epic. Oh, we don't store full credit card strings. Then why are they in the data set? Stop it. Just... Like, I don't know how you can openly lie about data that is literally public. Like, I can verify everything that you're saying right now.
Yep.
I guess they just didn't expect anyone to actually do it, but the dataset wasn't even that big. It's not like the NFT bay. Actually, do you know about that one?
Oh, I haven't heard about any NFT day leaks.
The NFT bay. So someone went and downloaded every single NFT on the Ethereum network and a couple of other networks and just put them into a torrent and just it's a 16 terabyte torrent and you can just download every NFT.
Nice.
Because people have got this idea that, you know, NFTs are stored on the blockchain. They're not. It's just...
The token is the actual asset stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just that you're literally just buying a link to Google Drive, basically, for the most part.
Yep. I wish those things would go back to like what they originally intended to be, which has nothing to do with art.
Hey, you're getting game companies jumping on now. Ubisoft has said they're gonna do NFT stuff in their games.
Well, like, as probably annoying as it is, that's kind of more what the original intention of those things were in the first place. Like they were made for blockchain-based games, or at least I think that's where they started coming from.
Just wait till EA jumps on and does it in FIFA. NFT soccer players. Oh, like FIFA's already bad enough for card packs as it is. Like, imagine if you could buy a player for like $1,000. Like, people are gonna do it. That's the dumb thing. And people are like, the NFT guys are like, wow, I can't believe the companies are jumping in on this. Well, yeah, they're jumping in on it because they're going to be scraping income off the top of it. It's not like they're just going to like, it's just going to be, oh, you can just freely trade them amongst yourselves. Like, no, they're going to be increasing the gas fees and then taking off from that. Like, that's how it goes. Like, this is just like the companies embracing NFTs. They're embracing it to make money.
Yep. I think the first time I heard about a company catching shit about them dealing with NFTs was actually Dead by Daylight.
That rings a bell. I did hear something about that.
So they were working with some company and they were, I don't know if they were going to or did release an NFT that was for when they released a new killer, which I think was Hellraiser. And it was supposed to be, if you get the NFT, you'll like get access to something that in the game wasn't there before or something.
Right.
Yeah. And they caught a lot of shit for it.
Oh, I can understand why.
Yeah.
Like, you've got two crowds here. You've got the people who like are really hardcore into NFTs, and then you have like the gamers who are like, stop putting fucking like, we don't need more monetization systems in our games. Like, this is why I mainly play indie stuff, because typically, like, obviously you have the indie companies who, you know, make the NFT games, but the guys who don't, like, they're not doing it for the most part as, like, hey, this is how we can quickly make money. It's usually a passion project, and a lot of companies aren't going to just integrate NFTs just because, like, this is the cool thing to do. I do hope we can look back in, like, you know, 5-10 years on the whole NFT art thing and just be like, that was a weird time, wasn't it? Remember when people were buying really poorly drawn monkeys for $500,000? That was why? Why did that in the middle of a global pandemic where a lot of people were homeless? Crazy times.
The thing that made me start realizing how fucking cringe NFTs were getting, it wasn't that. I think it was a little bit before this. If I remember this correctly, Gary Vee suddenly got super fucking into NFTs. God. I think he started his own NFT line of his little fucking doodles he makes. Yeah. I was like, okay, no, sorry. I'm out now.
I get I get the NFT thing from the artist perspective, like actual artists, not like, hey, I just went onto Fiverr and bought like 100 monkeys. Like, which is what half the projects are now. Like, people are like, oh yeah, the artist, like, these are not artists that are making money here. Like, the artist was paid on Fiverr. Yeah. The one who's making the money is the companies who are trying to flip them for insane amounts of money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even for the perspective of somebody who's an artist trying to monetize their work some, unless you're somebody that has a fucking huge following already, this it's just like anything else where you are a speck of sand in the beach and no one's gonna find your fucking NFT.
It is the Elon Musk factor again. You have to get like really big influencers who are willing to sell out their fans to talk about this, like the Logan Pauls, the Jake Pauls, the Gary V apparently. There's like the problem is there's a lot of people who are just willing to sell out their fans. Like, if you unironically refer to yourself as an influencer, then you're probably one of those people who will sell out your fans. I hate the term. The problem I have with the term influencer is it doesn't tell you anything about the person. When someone says they're an influencer, I just imagine that they don't have any talent. Like, their only skill in life is being able to be popular. It's just it's like the pretty kid in class who's dumb as a pile of bricks, but they're pretty and they have friends. Like, that's all they are.
Yep. It's the internet's form of preppy kids.
Yep, exactly. But hey, you might make money on it. You might make money on it. Do you want to buy this? Look, you can buy this $10,000 monkey. It might go up to $1 million. You should do it. You're gonna be rich. Like that. That's the other thing. Like, I think in most other climates, this wouldn't actually be as tempting, but because there is a lot of people who are really struggling to like pay bills right now, any like chance they can grasp at to make a lot of money, they're going to grasp at.
It doesn't help either that the few microscopic times somebody actually does something good, like it's like boom, that's all you fucking hear about. You don't hear about probably the hundreds, tens of thousands of people that lose probably more than they should have on those things.
Yep.
Like, I think back on this, I'm like, as cool of a dude as he is, I'm like, God damn it, people, this shit wouldn't fucking start if you didn't sell fucking NFT for like $6 million some shit. Because that's what kickstarted all this crap off.
I don't know where the crypto market's going, but it's getting too ridiculous right now. Like, we're getting to like, it's starting to feel like, the bubble's getting a bit too big. Like, there's so much money here, and it's coming out that, a lot of the stable coins like Tether are sort of bullshit. They're not actually backed. You have prices getting just to ludicrous levels. You have absolute joke projects going from no value to like, billions of dollars of market cap back to no value within like the span of an hour or two. Like, this is something's gotta crumble at some point, and I don't know what it's going to be, but when it does happen, it's going to be very big. I don't think crypto's ever going away. I think that, you're going to have a lot of things collapse. And I think that what's going to happen afterwards is you're going to see a lot of these projects that actually have use cases stick around, but all of this, like, there shouldn't be, how many coins are there on CoinMarketCap right now? Is like a couple thousand?
I don't even know.
Like, there shouldn't be this many projects. Yeah. And something's gonna collapse right now. And I don't think it's helped by the fact that a lot of crypto outlets are just talking about like how much things go up in value. Like, I'm looking at the biggest gainers right now, and one of the okay, let's actually have a look. So the top gainer right now is Bankless DAO. It went up 55,000% in the past 24 hours. Like, that's not sustainable. Like, I don't think I need to tell you this, but, like, that's not sustainable. We now have coins like Shark Girl token I mentioned earlier that are based off of characters. I found one called Genshin Shiba Inu.
Oh no.
That went up 1,000% in the past 24 hours. Goldzilla. Like, I shouldn't need to tell people that something that goes up. Look, if it goes up above 20% in a day, it's probably allegedly a scam.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't even touch something. Like, if it goes up 50,000 in a day, like, that's not something that your money should be in. Because that right there is a pump and dump. Like, it's the allegedly. It's the most obvious alleged pump and dump on the planet.
Which, I mean, if somehow, some way you happen to randomly buy a shit coin because you were bored and all of a sudden it got pumped up, all right? Cool, lucky for you.
Well, yeah, I bought like $50 of Shiba Inu. No, $40 of Dogecoin back when it was worthless, and it went up in value. I was like, oh, I have a couple $100 here. Like, that's cool. But like, don't. This is not how you plan your future. You don't make like you don't bet everything on red as the way to like get your life savings. That's not how it works. People are gonna keep doing it though, and something's gonna burst. Maybe it's gonna be like, you know, the equivalent of like the financial crisis again, but this time in crypto, where everything just collapses. But
don't say that, man. Buy $1,000 Bitcoin.
I've been out of the market for a while. Like I made quite a bit, and I now like it's nice now because I have like my my savings there. Like I didn't have that. I had a bit of savings, but now I have considerably more. But you shouldn't, just because you can make money on it, and there are people that do, doesn't mean that you should be banking on it. Like, there are people now who say stupid things like, oh, it doesn't matter that it's a Ponzi scheme, just be the first one in and the first one out. It's okay. Like, no. If you know it's a Ponzi scheme, your money shouldn't be going into it. I don't know how every podcast I do turns into a crypto rant, but it somehow does. Let's see. What else do we have on here? There's not much. Only a couple minutes left of the podcast anyway. Hey, here's one. I'm going to send you a fun one. Uber Eats is expanding their business.
Uber Eats will let you order weed in Ontario but won't deliver.
Yep.
This will pick up the earn orders with Canadian cannabis retailer Tokyo Smoke.
So hey, look, if you can buy it, I don't know, like, why would you order it through Uber Eats but like not have it get delivered? Like, why would you do it like that? Why would you not just go there, like go to the store?
Well, besides very dumb reasons, I'm actually trying to think of like rational reasons. I know I haven't used Uber Eats before, but I know with DoorDash, you can technically, like, basically some places will just use DoorDash as how they order online,
right?
But can't deliver. So my thought process is, okay, I can order from a place that I can't get delivery from, but I can go pick it up. And I'm going to go pick it up because I'm going to go fucking get high too, and I'm going to get the mad munchies so I can get both at the same time.
I guess if you just don't want to wait you don't want to walk around the store, you don't want to wait to find stuff. I guess that's why. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, you can do that in Ontario now, I guess, if you want to. I've never used Uber Eats either. I'm typically the kind of person that will just, go to the store and buy my food.
Like, we should do that more. admittedly.
I'm just a very cheap person. Like I do, I'll get myself, some KFC, whatever, every so often. But like, I don't want to pay the delivery fee. I just don't. Oh, it's just silent. I think you're gonna say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking. I just remembered. I know we didn't cover this topic yet because I wanted to see what you were going to say about where I said I'm going to have a VTuber model made soon.
Yeah, I did see that, but I skipped over it. Where's that coming from?
Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
I think how to explain this. So I wouldn't have it for the same reason. Obviously, like a lot of people that do VTubing do, which is like because the anonymity or probably like anxiety and shit. And the idea actually came from. I try to think of like different ways to do it. Like there's like, do I have it be a whole separate character that I sort of like play off of in some way, shape, or form? Because it's I initially when I thought about the idea of somebody who like just has a model and just sometimes using it like just cause seemed a little weird to me. But then I don't know if you know who this is. There's somebody who I think used to or still associated with the Game Grumps named Rubber Ross. He kind of basically does that. Like he basically does some streams and some videos where he's just he just has his camera on.
Right.
But then he has ones where he basically does VTubing. Now, and just sort of like, I guess he doesn't even really like switch characters. He just sort of just sometimes uses his VTuber model.
Right.
And I was like, that's not a bad idea, actually, because to some extent, doing it that way sometimes just seems more fun because there's like more interesting things you could do.
Sure.
VTuber model than my dumb ass in my room. So I was thinking of basically just like doing that. Also,
you want to be a cat girl?
Yeah. From a strategic perspective, there's two reasons.
Okay.
One, want to be a cat boy, Art? Shut up.
Sure. Okay, that's solid logic.
There is that that audience that can be tapped into.
Sure.
Yeah, I see you suddenly put on the cat girl as well. Are you mocking me?
I wear these unironically in my streams. They're actually kind of comfortable.
But the other reason is like, okay, so I know there are people who do VTubing that sort of do technology stuff. Like, because there's like, obviously there's Cyan and is that Ren?
Yeah,
person
Ren.
that you've had on there. But like, I think there's still a gap here that I don't think's really been
the
filled,
tech space is very. It's the one part of VTubing that's very unsaturated.
Yeah, so like, and it's not like, okay, so Cyan does streams where she's like learning stuff, and you're like learning alongside with her. Okay, good. Admittedly, I don't exactly know what Ren talks about when he.
Ren's mainly a game streamer right now.
Okay.
But on his his YouTube channel, he talks about like VTubing on Linux.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I see like, okay, where there's a hole here where there's not somebody who's VTubing that can actually basically literally teach you how to do software engineering or like do stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can kind of fill that gap.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I know there's a bunch of people I can think of that have like, the VTuber character and then also, they stream like themselves, like Kason, for example. She does that. I know Lily Pichu sometimes uses a VTuber model as well. Who else? Anthony Padilla, for example, also does the same thing. From Smosh.
I had no idea. Oh.
Yeah, he started VTubing a while back. And I think, there are definitely things that you can do, for sure. I think that the problem with a lot of VTubers, a lot of them end up doing the same thing. Like, this sort of happens with every single, like, whether you're doing, like, just general content creation, anything you're doing, there's always going to be a lot of people that, same with what I said earlier, always sort of congregate at doing, like, the thing that you do when you're doing this. Like, when you're a VTuber, you're a game streamer, you do these streams, you do karaoke, things like that. But I think there's a lot of experimentation that still can be done. And, like, there's no reason why you can't just do regular content that gets done on, like, on the YouTube space as a VTuber. Like, you don't have to be a game streamer. You can do all of these other things. And it's not at the height that VTubing was, like, you know, when Gura first you know, hit 1 million subs and everyone knew about, like, EN VTubers, but it's still a very big space, and I think a lot of the people that were there at the time have sort of dropped out. Like, a lot of people sort of started, but without, like, having any sort of direction they wanted to take it. They just, you know, it's the cool thing to be doing right now, and I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
But every so often, Cyan bothers me about getting a model as well.
I was gonna ask. I was like, so when's your kangaroo VTuber?
Yeah, look. Look, maybe at some point it will happen, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea to experiment with, just to see, like, how it would go, because I don't know of any, like, I know of dev VTubers. I don't know of, like, some people do development, but I don't know of anyone who, you know, tries to teach it.
Right.
There probably is at least, like, one or two, but I can't think of anybody. And most people who do, like, the VTubing stuff do, like, streams anyway.
Yeah.
I can't think of any, like, video content about, like, development. I could be mistaken. If someone happens to know someone, let me know. But from my knowledge of the scene, I don't know of anyone.
There's too many VTubers to keep track of.
There's too many VTubers in general. Like, I get, like, why everyone wanted to do it, because, you know, VTubing is this cool new thing. Everyone wants to try it out. But, like, it's sort of like with anything. If you don't have a direction you want to take it, then you're not gonna last for the long run. Like, I know a bunch of people, while, like, Luke was at, like, the peak of, you know, actually being a Linux YouTuber, was starting, like, Linux channels. Like, that was the reason why I started. But a lot of people ended up, like, dropping out of it because, you know, if you just start because you see someone else doing it, you're not, like, there's nothing that's going to make you stand apart. There's nothing that really sort of, there's nothing that gives anyone a reason to watch your stuff. I think the thing that's helped me recently, at least, is, you know, putting that part, like, stuff like that where I can't speak, putting a bit more of my, like, myself into the content. Like, this is why I wear the fucking Yanas shirt. Like, there's no other, like, I feel like the Linux YouTuber space needed, like, different people. Like, everyone in the space was the same person. Like, they're like, okay, I am Serious Foss Man. Maybe I'm bold, but I am Serious Foss Man. Foss is all that matters. There's at least no one that I can think of that was, like, trying to give a bit more of a nuanced perspective. Like, I don't know. I think that it's always a good idea to experiment with content and just see what sticks.
Yeah, because I kind of like how you did with Linux. The reason why I started making some of the programming stuff was because I didn't like a lot of the way most people did their tutorials. Because they're either extremely slow and dry and make me want to slam my head in the desk as I listen to them.
Speaking of oversaturated spaces.
Or they, like, they just show you what they did, but don't actually fucking explain, like, what they did or why. And so that's kind of what I tried to do, is I'd still try to do it at a pace that's not boring, but I still try to explain what I'm doing. But I also try not to curb my like speech or anything when I'm doing it, because like I'm surprised no one's commented on it until literally like the other day. Somebody commented on my video I did about like doing like testing in Go, and at one point I make this remark about how like, oh, we need to simulate the breaking existing code. So I like break something like, we have just introduced a regression, which is a programming terms, a fancy way of saying you broke shit that already worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I actually like pulled it out into a clip because I'd never heard anybody make like a dumb take about it like that before.
Like stuff like that is why people stick around. Like there's so many fucking dry, absolutely dry and boring programming channels. Like there's a reason why there's like a couple that sort of like stick out. There was a Unity channel I used to watch back when I was doing a lot of Unity stuff. Unity, let's see if we can find it. Unity tutorial. What were they called? Brackies. Brackies was the channel. Like channels like that where there's like some character there. I think, you know, I think that they're a bit more exciting. The problem is that there's a lot of people who see characters being exciting and then just use the same fucking character. Like, there's so many Twitch streamers that are just the same person. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure you're not identical like in real life, but like it's the idea of like this is how you be a streamer. This is how you be a Python tutorial channel. Things like that.
Okay, I guess you were saying.
Where people try to like emulate the style of the popular channel, and it's very obvious in a lot of cases when people are emulating a style.
Right. Yeah. Can't remember his name now. I remember there was someone I used to follow on Twitch that I can't remember his name, but like he was just extremely energetic. And like not like fake, like he was just a very energetic person. And I can see why he was, for even being a channel that literally just sits there and writes fucking code, it was still pretty decently sized streamer, because I think he probably gets your attention a lot more because he's very like he's very upbeat and has a lot of energy. Whereas like I would never try to do that. Brother, hold on, can you try to imagine me sort of being like, okay, everybody, here we go. So, oh, yeah,
no, I think really you did it like that. It would, you gotta,
yeah.
That would be fun. But if you tried to do like you like try to like clean up your accent as much as possible and try to do like the...
That's impossible, yeah.
Yeah, no, you try to be like the generic programming channel. If you did it with, you went like, you just go full redneck with it, I think that's a different appeal and that could work. You like, you get like the redneck look as well, and I think that would work as a programming channel.
We're gonna put this variable right here. We're gonna come back for her later.
Because I know there are some people that like super overemphasize the like Australian accent as well, and that works out in its own way, not for programming but for like some other things. I think it would work with yours as well. Maybe I'll have like these polar opposite things where if I'm using the VTubing model, I'm being, I guess, call it more normal, and then if I'm like camera on, I'm like full blown like we Appalachian in this bitch right now. Maybe it could work. I don't know. It's certainly something worth experimenting with. Like if it doesn't work, hey, it doesn't work. Just change it.
Oh no! You just gave me the middle image of like me intentionally like, misspelling words like with the horrible like Southern slang.
Oh no! I think when it's like an obvious, I think there's a difference between faking a personality and playing an obvious character. Like when it's a character, I think like there's, you know, you sort of have that understanding that it's a character, but when it's like you're trying to pretend like this is who you really are, that's a little bit different.
True.
I just realized we're actually over time.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
No, it's fine. More
clips.
I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about on here. think we hit on most of the main stuff, actually. Yeah, I think we did, actually. That was fun.
That was fun.
Now I need to go plan out the rest of the Linus video and record that today before I go to work. Oh, Lord, my life is fun. I said I was like considering not doing reactions, but Linus is making it so hard not to do reactions. Like, he's saying shit that's so...
Oh, no.
It's so fucking stupid in some cases. Like, it's one thing to just be, you know, new user stupid. Like, new user stupid's fine. Like, everyone's new user stupid. But, like, unable to read English stupid is a whole, like, another story. Like, Linus, just stop. Did I mention the thing about OBS earlier?
Oh, with him?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. But yeah, I did remember him saying a bunch of interesting OBS issues.
No, not the issues. The issues are fine. I had the exact same issues. Like, that's entirely fair. OBS on Linux it's a mess. No, the problem that was funny was, so the package for OBS on Arch Linux, it says unofficial. Okay, he read unofficial as unsupported.
Oh, right.
Like, he circles it and says it's unsupported. Like, Linus, it literally does not say that. Like, how do you read unofficial as unsupported? It's... Do you know what the word unofficial means? It's supported, but unofficially. Like, stop. Like, shit like that is the reason why I have to do these reactions. Like, I can't not do a video when I hear shit like that.
I'd watch it, but admittedly, for some reason, I don't know why, I'm actually one of the people that watches the reaction channel sometimes.
I don't like doing reaction content, but if I'm gonna do it, I'm going to try to add context to the video. I'm not just like, oh yes, Linus said a thing. Like, yeah, you can hear him say a thing. Like, I'm gonna be like, okay, this is the problem that he's having here. This is why it's happening. Here's how you can address it. Anyway, I just realized we actually hadn't split this into parts. We've gone an hour and a half with one part, so let's hope I didn't lose the recording. It should be fine, hopefully. Anyway, what do you want to say to end the podcast?
Y'all could find me on... I actually have my own website now.
Oh, you do?
DonaldFeury.xyz. Yeah. It's a blog. I basically just post, like, very small snippets of how to do... like a bunch of random things with certain technologies like Mongo or Go.
I did not know you had... How do you spell your name?
The last part,
yeah.
Feury.
Oh, it's F-E.
Yeah.
I had it UE.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
It's just a Go CMS.
You should go and buy the other one and just link it back.
I should. That's not a bad idea.
Because I don't know if I've ever spelt your name correctly, actually. Like, when I...
You and nobody else.
It is a weird spelling. I don't know, is it weird? Are there other people with the name Feury spelt like that? I've never seen it before. Nope. Just you.
I know of, not really. Yeah.
Well, I see the problem then. Okay, for me, if you want to go watch my main channel, that's Brodie Robertson. I do Linux stuff. You'll probably hear from that channel. I don't know why I shout that channel out, but if you did find the podcast first, that's cool. Yeah. Gaming channel, Brodie Robertson Plays, where I live stream twice a week. That's 3 times, Brodie. Twice a week. Upload 5 YouTube shorts. Podcast available as an audio release basically anywhere if you're watching the video. The video is available on YouTube and Odyssey as well. And I think that's going to be pretty much it for me then. Yeah. How do you want to end it?
Y'all come on back now. We'll see you next time.
Didn't you say that last time as well?
I did.
Yeah, you did.
That's my ending. That's my ending catch line.
I don't watch most videos to the end. If I see an outro happening, I just stop the video. Anyway, see you guys later.